I'm Kenneth Witt, and welcome to Gun Dog Nation. Gun Dog Nation is much more than a podcast. It's a movement to build a community of people around the world that like to watch a well-trained dog do what it's bred to do. Also, we want to get our youth involved into the sport of gun dogs, whether it be hunting, sport, or competition. We want to build a community of people united to preserve our gun dog heritage and to be better gun dog owners. Tune in to each weekly episode and learn about training, dog health, wellness, and nutrition. We will also offer tips for hunting with dogs and for competition, hunt tests, field trials, and other dog sports that involve gun dogs. Please go to our website, gundognation.com, and subscribe to our email list. We will keep you informed weekly with podcasts that are coming out. We also will be providing newsletters with training tips and health tips for your dog. You can also go to patreon.com/gundognation and become a member. There's different levels of membership on there. Just go check that out. Also, would like to thank Sean Brock for providing the music for this show, the introduction and the outro. As Sean Brock, he played everything on there except the banjo by Scott Vestal and the dobro by Jerry Douglas. Sean is a neighbor of mine from over in Holland, Kentucky. I'm just crossing the mountain in Hyden, Kentucky, and he's a super talented guy. But most of all, I want you guys to check out the Creekers. They are also from Hyden, Kentucky, and this is an up-and-coming bluegrass and country band, and these guys are hot. They're all over TikTok and YouTube. You will hear these guys because in a year or so, they will be on the radio. They are very talented. Their videos are going viral on the net. These boys are family. Two of the lead singers, one grew up with my daughters, and the other one is my cousin's son, so he's family. But check them out. Check out the Creekers. Also, last but not least, if you want to buy a hat, koozie, t-shirt, or even gun dog supplies, go to shopgundognation.com and you can purchase any of those items. Thank you so much for listening. It's a privilege to have people that want to put up with me talking about dogs all the time. I actually enjoy what I do, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity, and thank you. Hello, welcome back to Gun Dog Nation. This is Kenneth Witt with the Gun Dog Nation podcast, coming to you from Fort McCavitt, Texas, at the ranch. I've had a lot of requests from listeners about Boykin Spaniels, and I was talking around. I actually was recommended to several different people, referred me to one person. He's down in Alabama, just south of the Tennessee border there, and I reached out to Mr. Jonathan Holland. Jonathan, introduce yourself a little bit and tell everybody who you are, what you do.
My name is Jonathan Holland. We're located here in Athens, Alabama. My kennel name's Tomahawk Kennels, and we train all retrievers, but we specialize in the Boykin Spaniel.
Okay. And do you also breed Boykins?
Yes, sir, we do. We've actually got 2 litters coming up. We confirmed them last Friday. June, if you follow me very much, you know about my girl June. That's my sweetheart. And we've got her bred to Tim Boyce's dog named Sailor. And we've been trying to do that for 2 years now. We finally got it done, got that confirmed. So we're excited about that one. And then my dog Chief, if you know Boykin Spaniels, you know there's 2 Chiefs. There's the Grand Champion Chief, St. Thomas Chief, and then there's my Chief, Chief Holland. And we've got him bred to a female of mine named Sky. And she's a real nice female. She's got her season title, and she's got 2 finished passes. And we confirmed that one Friday also. So we got two pretty good litters coming up. Should be ready to go home right before Thanksgiving, right around that time frame.
Well, Jonathan, I'm going to make a statement and see what your opinion is. Like, 10, 12, up to 15 years ago, you mentioned a Boykin Spaniel. Most people didn't know what that was. It seems now that they're really popular. Does that seem to be accurate?
Yes, sir. I think for a long time, they were just on the East Coast and around South Carolina for the most part. And, when I found out about them, I was a kid, and we didn't, back then, we didn't have internet or nothing like that. We had the Ducks Unlimited magazine. And, Ducks Unlimited has always put the retrievers out there and they would have their list of 1 through 5 and all that. And, the Boykin Spaniel was usually on there. So I'd known about them my whole life. But I'm with you. I don't think they've really taken off as far as their popularity. I think it kind of came along with social media. Really, is what's put them out there more than anything.
You know what? I think you're right, and it's Jonathan. I mean, it's crazy now. I know, and you're a breeder. You know this much more than I do, but the price of them, they seem to get pretty expensive. But just because of the popularity and there's the demand almost seems to. exceed the supply. Is that what you find?
Uh, I could go a couple of different ways with that. They are very popular,
Yeah.
and they are in high demand. And like you said, the prices are all over the board. To get the really top bred, highly titled dogs that are generation after generation in the pedigree, and the ones of us that are training Boykins, there's certain lines that are red hot, that are really doing big things. To get those, you're going to have to pay for them and kind of know somebody really, or be on a list and be working with somebody. I mean, everybody out there is going to tell you they got a hunting line of Boykin Spaniels. They come from grand champions and all this, but um, I've been training them. I opened my kennel up for the public in 2021. So me and a buddy of mine was talking about this the other night when exactly I was pro. I guess around 2020 or 2021 is when I officially turned pro, which just means you're just taking money for training dogs. And I forgot where I was going with that. What was the question?
Well, hey, believe me, that happens to me too, Jonathan. Don't worry about that. We were just talking about the popularity of Boykins and how the price has gone up, and
Yeah.
you'll pay more for certain lines.
Yeah. Sir, everybody. So, with training as many as I have, and then talking with a couple of other buddies of mine that train a lot of Boykins, primarily Boykins. I mean, we know which lines are good and which crosses, but I think a lot of people are technically breeders. I mean, um, it doesn't take much to breed a dog. You just put a male and a female together. But to get these good breedings, really the trainers or the breeders that really have a lot of input with the training of the dogs, when you start looking at the qualities and characteristics of this dog and what you're trying to get out of it, that's where some of these really, really good dogs are coming from. Brandywine Kennels, Phil and Karen Hinchman up in Indiana. I mean, they are the elite Boykin breeder when it comes to performance. I mean, Phil and Karen, they've taken their time over the years, and they didn't just breed any dog that come along. I mean, they trained them, they titled them, they hunted them, and they picked the ones that they wanted to pair together. But the way Phil did it is he knew, which dogs needed to be more watery, which dogs needed to be more birdy, which dogs needed more legs on them, which dog, he put all that together. And it showed. I mean, when you look at his lines, those Brandywine and my dog June come from Phil and Karen. When you look at those lines, I mean, the reason why those dogs are so good is all the effort they put into them. And I mean, that took years and years and years of very special thought. And they need to be commended for what they've done for the Boykin Spaniel. That, as far as performance lines go, I mean, they are it. They're the ones that's done it for the Boykin Spaniel.
Jonathan, I went up there in Indiana back probably either winter 2016 or spring 2017 and picked up a pup for my friend. And you're right, that they were even back then. That's been 9 years ago. They were the starship for the Boykin. And what I've kind of seen, it's just me now being observing. I can't. My opinion is just my opinion, right? I've not owned Boykins, but what I've seen in the last 10 to 12 years, again, seemed like years ago the Boykins were kind of inconsistent. Like you could have a litter and have two pups or one or two pups that's really good hunting dogs, and a couple more that weren't so much. But now it seems like I'm seeing more and more consistent, really good Boykins. Does that seem about right?
What I'm seeing, and this is a topic that comes up a lot. Boykins are very male and female specific when it comes to training puppies. This is my opinion, but it's my theory of what I've experienced with training. And I've got several litters with males and females out of the same litter in the kennel now, but in the past few years I've had them in there, and the females are just behind maturing wise. With the exception of a few, very few, they're just behind. And the males just seem to come on stronger. And I think historically and statistically, the males are when you look at that performance side of the Boykins, you see the males up there a lot more than you see the females. I think in labs and different breeds, that may not, it may not be that drastic of a difference. But with a Boykin Spaniel, with my experience and with what I've seen with it, the males are just, they mature and they're just better than the females. So I think that's part of the equation of what you're talking about. But another thing I think is, I think people are hanging in there with them longer. I think the training techniques, people have really started dialing into training a Boykin Spaniel, and not just Boykins, but across the board. Like, there's a lot of good information out there now that wasn't there 10 or 15 years ago.
Jonathan,
When I first started this, you had some of the field trial stuff, the cassette tapes and stuff like that was out, and magazines and books. And then, but you didn't have a lot of these newer training programs that have come along, and you didn't see all the seminars kind of that you see now. And, when I first started, like Freddie King had the Meat Dog series for free on YouTube, and he was just getting the retriever trainer stuff up and going, when I got Chief. And then from there, from what he's done, there's been a lot of other people that's put out programs and put out good information, and just social media in general. I mean, just trainers that are not necessarily trying to be teachers, but have made some videos and put them on YouTube, or, made videos and put them on their TikToks or whatever. And, that if you watch, I'm all the time like buying different materials and studying and researching. And especially if I've got a dog having a problem, I'll kind of try to wrap my brain around what's going on with that. And, what you might watch somebody do something, and then that might not be exactly what you want to do, but it might in your brain, it might spark something like, oh, that would work. I could kind of twist this and fix that dog that way, or try that technique. And so I think the training has gotten a lot better. And I think a lot of people, or at least wanting to put a started title on their females before they breed them. And in the lab world, or the regular retriever world, a started title means absolutely nothing to most people. I mean, it's a fun intro gateway to getting started into the hunt test game, but to most people, they don't put a whole lot of weight on it. And with the Boykin Spaniel, a started dog is a pretty nice dog. It's had some training, and it shows that it has some drive, because all Boykin Spaniels can't be started dogs. And so I think by doing that with the females, that's gotten people hooked into it. We're like, well, we've got her started now. Let's push and let's get her seasoned. Let's push and see if we can get her finished. And so I think that's made a lot of it better as well. So I think it's kind of a combination of things that's made them better over the years when you kind of start looking at it.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation. Many people quickly become frustrated and confused when training a retriever. Cornerstone Gundog Academy's online courses eliminate all the guesswork by giving you a proven training system that will help you train a dog that anyone will be proud to have in their blind. Learn where to start, what to do next, and what to do when problems arise. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com to learn how you can train your retriever. I have used this method myself. I have been through it a couple times with different dogs. I refer back to it lots of times when I'm trying to get dogs freshened back up for hunt test season. I highly recommend them. I have actually been a subscribed member of Cornerstone Gundog Academy since 2016, and I would suggest anyone use it. I highly recommend it. They have an app that you can get to on your phone. You can do it from your phone, your laptop. You can't get any more convenient than that. I've used it. It's proven and tried. And I know literally hundreds of people that have done the same thing that I've talked to. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com and learn how to train your own retriever. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt, and Gundog Nation is proud to have one of their sponsors as Retriever Training Supply, based in Alabama. Retriever Training Supply offers fast shipping on quality gear. Your dog will love it. Visit retrievertrainingsupply.com to purchase gear to help you train your retriever. Listen, they have some of the best leashes I've ever found. It's stuff's made in America. Their leashes are, and they source them locally. They have anything you want, fast, friendly service, fast shipping, just good people. Retriever Training Supply. Jonathan, that actually makes a lot of sense, man. I agree with you. I think you're right. I think probably, people are also maybe learning how to train them differently, because I've got a cocker here at the ranch, and train a cocker spaniel and train a Labrador retriever is two separate, completely different things. And I've never trained a Boykin, but I would suspect that's the case there too.
Well, I mean, listen to what you just said. A Labrador retriever, his last name is Retriever.
That's
a Boykin Spaniel, his last name is Spaniel. He wasn't built by God to be a retriever. We don't even really know what they are or how much of each blood of what breeds built them up and all that. If you go in my kennel right now, you got some that are tall and long and look like retrievers, and you got some that are 20 pounds and squatted and they look like spaniels, and then you got everything in between. So we really don't know, but a spaniel's DNA he's not really a loyal dog. He's kicked out of the truck and he's meant to quarter a field and hunt on his own and flush birds. He don't need you to hunt with him. A retriever needs you to hunt with him, because you got to shoot something or throw something for him to bring it back to you. And so, just by that alone is a totally different, genetic makeup of what we're working with.
Well said. I like that. I'm going to steal that line from you. Man, no, listen. So, Jonathan, obviously, did you grow up with hunting dogs? When did you start hunting with dogs, I guess, would be the question.
I didn't. I grew up, my friend, his dad has always trained dogs and still trains dogs. And I grew up hunting with him and other people that had dogs, but I never was able to afford one, or was in a position when I was younger to have one. And then I was doing, when I was a firefighter, Chief's about 8.5 now. So this was probably about 10 years ago. I was out one winter and I was, just hunting by myself a whole lot. Out at the club, there wasn't many people there during the week. And I was out there by myself and I was shooting these ducks and I was sweating and waddling around in the mud. And I was like, you know what? Not only do I want a retriever, to get these birds, but I'd like to have one, out here with me, as a companion while I'm out here hunting, and just kind of kick that journey off. And I remember what pit I was in, where I was at, and everything the day that it came. It just kind of, this moment came to me, and I reflected back to my childhood, and I said I always wanted one of those Boykin Spaniels. I said that's what I'm fixing to research and get. And then from there, it just took off. And when I bought Chief, I didn't have any aspirations to be a dog trainer or be a professional trainer or anything like that. I just wanted a good hunting dog. I love duck hunting. I've always loved duck hunting my whole life. And that's what I set out to get. And then this whole journey kind of took over from there.
It's something, man, how we can get inspired by something from our childhood we saw in a magazine.
It really is.
Yeah. And, and my entry into dogs like that was about like you. The way I grew up, I didn't have it at home and didn't really have a place to keep one, nor I couldn't afford those kind of dogs. But my friends had good dogs, and that's how I got into it. Just fascinated, I had dogs, just not. I had old mutts, mixed breeds. But
yes, sir.
So have you ever owned any other breed for yourself? I know you train different dogs, but have you ever bought a retriever or something else to hunt with?
Yes, sir. So I started with Chief. That was my first dog, and so I got him, and then I decided about 6 months after having him, I was like, man, I want to get another. I want to have at least two of these, and I'd reached out to Phil and Karen Hinchman, and then I got on the list to get June, and they actually brought June to me and to South Carolina in 2018. And Chief was 13 months old when I picked him up, and that's when I won my first national. was that same year when I picked up June, and I won the novice division at the Boykin Nationals, and so I had two of them then. And then I started kind of collecting them. I bought several Boykin Spaniels, just kind of back to back as it was going, and that kind of progressed along. But then after, let's see, in 23, I decided, I was like, man, I want to play some bigger games, because I'd been running the Grand and with the Boykins and doing different things, and that game, there's been some Boykins to pass it. There's been 4 grand champions in the history of Boykins. But the fails percentage is through the roof. I mean, it's just not a Boykin game, and that's something that I really wanted to do. I wanted to push myself towards some of these bigger games. And so I bought me a black lab named Reaper, and I bought him in 23. And he's hunt retriever champion now, and I've got him signed up. I ran him in the spring Grand in Wisconsin, and we didn't have a lot of luck up there. Him, June, and Nelly all went out in the first series. We just didn't do too good up there this spring, but I've got him signed up for this fall. And then 2 years ago, I've been seeing these golden retrievers all over the place, and some really nice ones in like finish tests and master tests and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I really like them golden retrievers. And so I researched that out, and I bought me a golden retriever about 2 years ago. He's 2 years and a couple months, I think. His name's Rolex, and he got his hunt retriever champion title 2 weekends ago. Oh, and so I've got him signed up for the Grand this fall too. But I currently own 2 labs, 2 golden retrievers, and I don't even know how many Boykins, probably 10 Boykins.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and then you're training dogs too, right? Other dogs. Or do you still do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I train for the public. I think I've trained 32 dogs this morning. So we got a lot done this morning. When I first got into it, it was just fun. It was all I could think about. It's all I wanted to do. And then when you start taking on that many dogs, there's a big learning curve. There was a year or two there that I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of miserable, because that at one point I thought I knew everything, and then all of a sudden I felt like I didn't know nothing, and I had to figure it out and work through it. And I redesigned my farm a bunch of different ways and dug a bunch of different ponds and things that fit my training schedule and the way I like to do stuff. And now it goes pretty smooth. I've kind of got it where I've kind of went through the up and down, and I guess I'm kind of on the back up cycle again as far as my thoughts and the way everything flows out. But there was a period of time where I was like, man, I don't know if I'm cut out for this or not. And then, I had a lot of success with my Boykins, and then I started running client Boykins and hunt tests and stuff, and it's a little different. And then when you put that pro jacket on and you're standing in front of them judges, they judge you a little bit different than they do when you're just an amateur up there with your little Boykin,
Yeah.
And there's been some ups and downs for sure. It hadn't been all smooth sailing, but it's a lot of fun. I ain't gonna lie. I wake up every morning, I get to do this, and I get to be outside, and and I'm very blessed and to get to live this life. And I try to let my clients and my friends and everybody know that supports me, that I really appreciate, all the support and allowing me to get to do this.
Well, I think it makes a whole lot of difference when you have a passion for what you do, and you obviously do. And that probably is a big, huge attribute to your success. When you're training now that you train other breeds, so in your kennel, not your dogs personally, but the dogs you're training, are most of those Boykins, or what all breeds do you have right now that you're training?
Yeah, I'm probably about 90% Boykins. Wow. I've got a couple labs in there, and one of my good hunting clients brought me a Griffon pointer. That's the first one of those I've ever done, so it's coming along. It's been a little bit different from what I'm used to. But that's about all I got in there right now in Boykins. So
now, so far of all the breeds you've trained, Is there one breed that's easier to you, or are they just all different dogs?
I mean, they're all different dogs, but you got to put into perspective what you're training them to do. You know,
Yes.
if you're training retrievers, there's nothing better than a big black American field champion bred lab. I mean, they run straight, they go straight, they've been bred for, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, they're intelligent animals, and after training a whole bunch of Boykins, if somebody brings you a really nice bred lab like that, I mean, that's like your therapy for the day. That's like mental therapy of like, all right, I get to have a little fun, you know?
Yeah.
So as far as retrievers breeds go, I mean, it's hard to beat that. My golden, he's bred really, really well. He's field champion bred on the sire side, and he's grand champion, real thick grand champion bred on the bitch side. And so he's kind of a hammer himself, and he's been extremely easy to train. But he's not a lab. He's he's really, really good, but he thinks differently. And so my experience with the Boykins has really paid off training him, because, you know, you notice, if you notice a dog is really, you know, soft in this area, or really sensitive, I guess soft maybe not be the right word, but, you know, really sensitive in this area or that area, then you know how to work your way out of it. Because a lot of times it's not, you're trying not to make mistakes. You know, looking back on a lot of dogs I trained in the past, if I knew what I know now back then, they would have been a lot better dogs.
Yeah.
Because we're humans, we make mistakes, you know.
Yes.
And so any trainer, as they go through their journey, I feel like, you know, you're going to get better and better. And one of the areas you're going to get better in is you're going to make less mistakes. You know, your timing is going to be better. Your execution is going to be better. You know, one thing I found myself doing is way less pressure, which I've never used a lot of pressure, but now, like today, we ran all those dogs, and most of them we didn't even run them with a collar on. So I mean, I've got to where I've used way less pressure, and I use more whistle and recalls, and you figure out how the dog's thinking, and then you just teach it, you know, and you condition it, and you got to condition it over and over and over again to get it right. You don't just get it right one time, but so that to me is like, for as far as the retriever goes, that those are way easier to train. I've had some Boykins. I've had a couple Boykins that, I mean, they trained just like a retriever would. They loved to retrieve. They had a lot of drive. They ran pretty straight lines naturally. I mean, they loved the water naturally, and birds weren't an issue. A lot of the issues that Boykins have, they didn't have, and they just kind of bumped through training and were really good. But I mean, that's a very, very few compared to the average of what I get, you know. So if you're looking to get into retriever training with Boykins, it's a lot different. And you'll, one thing I've done is you'll get more selective on the ones you want to train, because it after you trained a bunch of them, in the end, yeah, you can train them and you can title them. I've even made one a HRCH that is nothing but a robot. But that's not a good hunting dog. And the owner, you know, he loves the dog, and it's a good dog, but it's not his favorite hunting dog, because that dog doesn't naturally want to do it. And, you know, if you're training retrievers, you kind of want a dog that naturally wants to retrieve. Yes. And so that's what makes the Boykins hard. So, like when Boykins come in to train, or when people call me about a puppy they got, I'm like, get that thing retrieving, because it's naturally a spaniel. So we need to teach it to retrieve, and we need to make it love retrieving, and bring all the natural retrieve we can out of it before I get it. Because if it gets here and it's not retrieving, it don't have any interest. I mean, I'll do the obedience on it. I'll collar condition it for you. But if it's not retrieving, when we get done with all that, I'm not going to do any type of force fetch or anything like that. I mean, we're pretty much done as far as I'm concerned with that particular dog, because it just naturally don't want to do it, you know.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gun Dog Nation, and I've got to tell you guys about something that I've gotten hooked on lately. It's Faux-licious. These are gourmet instant pho and ramen bowls that actually taste like the real deal. When I'm out in the field all day and the last thing I want is to settle for bland camp food, Faux-licious is what I go to. It's authentic, the flavor, it's real ingredients, it's ready in just minutes. It's perfect for hunters, fishermen, or anyone on the go. And you can get them over 1,900 Walmarts nationwide, your local HEB here in Texas. Or you can just go online at faux-licious.com. Trust me, once you try it, you'll keep a few stocked in your bag, in your backpack, or for your next adventure. I just want to say this, I want to add this to this commercial because I know the owners of this company. They've hunted on my ranch. Joseph, he and I were actually met in Colorado on a hunting trip that was a real adventure. They are true hunters. They've hunted at the ranch, and I've hunted with them. And Anna, she is just amazing. She is the one that came up with this idea. They were both on Shark Tank. They are amazing people. So I love seeing people like this have a business. And I just had to say that in addition to the commercial because I really believe in the product and I believe in the people that made the product. Be sure and go to faux-licious.com or go to Walmart or HEB and try their product. I promise you, you will like it. Is your approach any different, Jonathan, when you approach a Boykin as opposed to how you would approach your first day training a lab? And I'm kind of just talking about the first day when you first get a dog out that the clients brought you this dog. Do you handle, or is it just breeds? I mean, is it just dog specific instead of more so breed specific?
I guess I've kind of like developed a process that works for me. With what I've seen, and I've helped a lot of other guys with their labs and their Goldens too, because there's not a lot of good water around me. So a lot of people come here to use my water. Even a lot of pros come here to use my water, and so I get to see and witness a lot of different things. Some good and some not too good. But the way I've kind of developed it is, if I can figure out how to do all these little small steps to get these Boykins to do it, if I do all those small steps with a lab or with a Golden, they don't really need it. But by doing all that, you get a way better dog. I mean, they clearly understand what you want. They're already excited about it. The pressure goes way down, the fun goes way up, and you just move right along. And so really, the first day I get a lab or the first day I get a Boykin, it's kind of the same. It's I'm very playful for a while. And some of it's going to depend on the age of the dog and some of the specifics of the situation also. But if you brought me a 6-month-old lab and a 6-month-old Boykin, it's going to kind of be the same thing is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go out there and play and get them retrieving. I do a lot of marker type training. So I'm going to start, I use a little hot dog, like a half a hot dog each session. And I'll just pinch little pieces off, and I'm getting them to sit, and I'm getting them healing and moving around me real good and place. I'm really big on place training and things like that. And if you can get a dog that understands marker training and working with you that way, you can move on pretty quick, and they understand it really well. And so you can kind of just roll on with it. And that's kind of a lot of what I do, especially that first month is just, it's a lot of playfulness and a lot of just teaching what I want, whether it be treats or if I can transition. If they retrieve so good, I can transition off of a treat, and then I start using the reward to be the retrieve, or I get them to strike and fetch out of my hand. If I ever get that going on, then it's really game on. Then we're fixing to have some fun.
Now, do you use a clicker?
I do not use a clicker. I just use a vocal mark. I usually just say yes in a very specific voice. And the thing about the clicker training that took me a while to really understand, and Pat Nolan has a series out now, and it's three parts now. He just released the fetch part. And like I said earlier, I'm all the time buying and watching and learning as much as I can. But Pat Nolan breaks some stuff down as far as marker training with puppies and developing puppies. He can break down collar conditioning and explain it in a way that anybody that's training a dog, I think, should have to watch that and go through it, because the way he breaks down collar conditioning is on another level. And it works. I can tell you, I've been using that part for 2 seasons now, and it works really, really well. Um, but I just use my voice, and I just say yes in a very specific way, but you got to capture that picture. So it's like when you say the word yes, whatever they're doing in that moment is like you just took a picture of it. So if they were sitting and they've stood up to come get the treat, that's not what you're looking for. You want to make sure everything's calm and still, and you say yes when they're sitting. And then if they jump or whatever, it don't matter. You can give them the treat and move on. But the marker training is very specific. I mean, you have to do it right so they understand it. And that's taken me a little bit of time to develop. But
Yes.
once you figure it out, it works really, really well,
And the
especially with the
timing,
Boykins.
the timing that's important too, isn't it, Jonathan? I mean, your timing
Yeah,
and
that's kind of where I was going with that. Like the
yeah,
timing is that picture, and so
yes,
when you click or you say yes or okay or whatever you use, I mean it's got to be perfect. I mean that's what dog training is, really, is timing and balance. And I mean, it starts with that, but I mean, down the road, your whistle timing has got to be dead on. You know, if you're force fetching a dog, you better be very, very dead on there with your timing. So dog training is all about timing and balance.
well said. I like that too. Now, Jonathan, who who do you look up to the most, or may even be your mentor as a trainer?
There's a lot of guys that I love to watch and follow. When I first got started, my buddy, when I was a kid, he spent a lot of time with me when I had Chief, and his name's Chase Camp. He's here local to me, and he's got a kennel, and he still trains some dogs too. And he spent a lot of time with me, and I owe him a lot of appreciation and gratitude for doing that, because that kind of, without that, I wouldn't have had the roots. And he was very, very stern with me on obedience and building that foundation right, you know. And it kind of drove me nuts back then, because I was seeing all the cool stuff, you know, that his older dogs are doing. I'm like, man, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I finally got there with a couple of dogs, and I'm like, man, I know what he was saying now. I've got to go back and fix all this stuff. And I mean, and I think everybody's the same way. When you get that first dog, like you want to just skip and go right to the top. And what's really important about dog training is sit. I was at a Stephen Durant's seminar, and he said he's never seen a dog that sat too good. And as soon as he said that, I was like, man, that's solid right there, because I've never seen a
Yeah.
dog that sat too good either, you know. And so, you know, to get that, all that, your obedience, your foundation solid is very important, you know. And that was some things that he really instilled with me. And then from there, a guy out of Jackson, Tennessee, named Chris Scott, kind of took me under his wing. And for several years, he mentored me and kind of showed me the ropes and helped me out and helped me understand a lot of things. And you know, it was a lot of tough love at times. It wasn't all, you know, fun and, you know, laughing. I mean, he was pretty serious about it, you know, and he was pretty rough on me at times, but you know, he really took time out of his day that he didn't have to. And I've always really appreciated that. And that's kind of my two mentors. But I've also had some guys that spent some time with me, and I've been to some seminars and different things. I've been to 3 Stephen Durant seminars, and he took some extra time out of his day besides that, to help me out. And that guy's I mean, the way he breaks stuff down, the way he trains, his brain. That's an intelligent dude. I mean, he's got it going on. And he's a good teacher too. Like he ain't about like nobody messing around, but I mean, he can really teach you if you want to learn, and you'll let him teach the way he teaches it. Man, that guy's good. And then Adam Campbell, as always, Adam Campbell's kind of a Boykin guy in a way, because his brother had a female Boykin that's historically, a lot of the good blood that's out there now has got her in it. And but Adam's invited me down to train before, and Adam's kicked in and chimed in when I've had some ups and downs. And Adam's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
Guy. He's a great guy. We were actually supposed to do a podcast today at 1:00, and he's like, we've done 2 full podcasts and lost them. Like, you know, got lost in our program. So we're trying to do it for a 3rd time. And he's like, Dave, man, he said, can I get a rain check? He said, we've got sun today and it's been raining and I need to train so bad. I was like, no, man, it's fine. But he's a great guy. You know, Jonathan, the guys you mentioned, like I've never met Steve Durrance. I've listened to him. I actually just listened to him last week on an SRS podcast. But you know, what I love about this community, and I'm talking about you and me and everybody around, is everybody really, most people help each other. You know, like I drive Clark Kington crazy. Brody Best, those guys, you know, I don't know Steve Durrance. He probably don't want to know me because I'd probably drive him crazy too because I'm always asking questions and seeking advice. And everybody seems so willing to help. Do you find that? Hey, it's Kenneth Whip, the Gun Dog Nation podcast, and I'm very proud to have as a new sponsor Cable Gangs. That's spelled Gangz. Brendan Landry at Cable Gangs has developed, in my opinion, and I'm a customer, the best tie-out systems on the market. They're easy to pack, easy to store. They can coil up just like an extension cord. They use premium galvanized steel cable coated with durable UV-resistant PVC coating. Brendan can make custom products, anything you want that's related to a dog tie-out system or a cable system or a way to safely secure your dog. They've even made a system that works with a bicycle so you can go and exercise your bicycles and have your dog running along with you. It would be impossible for me to describe to you all the different custom applications they have, so just go to their website at cablegangs.com and check it out. They make dog tie-outs, a way to safely secure your dog if you're at a field trial, a hunt test, coonhound competition, whatever that might be. These guys make the best product on the market. Check it out for yourself. cablegangs.com.
Yes, sir. I mean, I wouldn't know a lot of most of the stuff I know now if somebody wouldn't have took the time to help me with it and at least get you going. You know,
yes,
that's the biggest thing. But you know, there for a long time, I was the one like begging, and I still, if I can get around the right guys, I'm quiet or I'm probably got questions. Steven tell me to shut up, but I got questions, you know, all the time of like, well, can you explain that? Or, you know, because I just got a lot of thoughts in my head too. But now I've kind of got to over that curve where now a lot of guys are coming here and asking me questions, you know, and I'm trying to give it back. You know, I've got one, we did a seminar here, with a guy, there was a ladies' golden group here local to me, golden retriever group, and they had hired a guy to come in and do a seminar, and they used my place. And from that seminar, several of the ladies have came back and got me to help them with their dogs. And I got one lady right now she's coming once a week, and we're doing some private lessons with her, and just, you know, that's just. You're right. That's how the community works. You know, if you're willing to participate both ways, I mean, people are there to help.
Yeah, it's really nice. You know, I go down sometimes when I can and work with Justin Drake. He's only about 2 hours from where I'm at here, and he trains me. You know, like I take my dogs, but he's training me more than he's training my dog. But yeah, it's helpful. I'm gonna have to come hit you up now. How close are you, Jonathan, to Huntington? Or Huntsville? Huntsville. I'm sorry, Huntsville.
Okay. I was like, I don't know where Huntington is.
I was thinking of West Virginia, man, because I was looking at some musky fishing places today, and I had that on my mind. Sorry about that. So Huntsville. Reason I know Huntsville, I was in the Army, and I did a little bit of time at Redstone Arsenal.
Yes, sir. Redstone Arsenal, you could probably get there in about 15 or 20 minutes from my kennel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just west of there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I used to go down there and seemed like they always send me there in the summertime, man. I was like, gosh, almighty. It was hot. But, I've been there a lot. So you're only, 2 hours from Nashville? Something like that?
Yeah, about an hour and a half. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm getting ready to move to just outside Nashville, right between Hendersonville and Gallatin there. So I won't be too far away from you.
No, sir. You have to come down and check me out.
I want to. I definitely want to. Yeah, man. It's every time I'd see somebody with a Boykin, they would know you. It's every convention I've been to. So you're well thought of. You have a great name in this business, and that's something to be proud of.
I appreciate that.
So now these litters you got coming up, are they already sold out?
I've got a lot of interest in them, but I wouldn't say they're sold out. If somebody's interested in getting a Boykin, reach out to me, and once we do sell out, I've got some clients with some litters that are going to be coming up also, so we can get you. If you're looking for performance, we can try to get you the right pup, that'll fit your needs.
Now, Jonathan, a man that competes like you, trains 32 dogs. There's really no substitute. You can't learn that in the classroom working with 32 different dogs. I can't imagine what that's like. What's one of your main pieces of advice that you would give as a trainer to an amateur like me or some of our listeners, when training a dog? There's probably lots of advice. You could probably talk for hours and hours, but what's one of the most important things that you think that they should keep in mind?
I think especially really any breed, but just keeping it fun and keeping it balanced. I see a lot of amateurs and owners that they get things will go good, but then the moment that it goes bad, it goes real bad because they make it worse because they take all the fun out of it. And they can't step back and see theirself and see their dog. All they're seeing is the dog and what's going on at the moment, and the dog's not doing what they wanted to do for whatever reason. And so they're, frustrated and in the moment they're panicking and they've taken all the fun out of it. And you got to keep it fun for the dog. I mean, you wouldn't want to go work for somebody every day and just be miserable. And a lot of times, an owner or amateur, you would be going to work for somebody that didn't know what they were doing. And so you were confused and they're confused and everybody, and you're getting, beat on and whooped on and you don't know why, and it just becomes miserable and the dog quits. And you would quit your job too if you were in that situation, and that's probably the biggest thing I see a lot of times, and especially with the Boykins, because they don't naturally do a lot of this retriever stuff that we want them to do. And it's really, really easy to get to a spot where you can't get through, or you can't figure out what's going on with them. And the thing about them is, I kind of go back to what I always say about the last name being Spaniel versus Retriever. That Retriever, that Lab or that Golden that you got, his DNA is to retrieve. He loves it. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he's naturally from God. That's what he's built to do. He loves to retrieve. That's what he's going to do. So if you make a mistake or you put too much pressure in the wrong spot or whatever, he's probably still going to keep retrieving until it gets real, real bad. It's going to have to get real bad to make him stop because he just loves it so much. Well, that Boykin, he don't love it. Even the good ones, I mean, it's not in their DNA. And so that the moment you start making them confused and unsure about themselves and it's not fun anymore, and mainly when it's not fair anymore because they don't understand what's going on, they're done. I mean, and it's bad. I mean, some of them you can get it back and some of them you can't. It just depends on how far you took it. But when you make bad mistakes with a Boykin, you got problems.
And Jonathan, I hear trainers say that same thing about Cocker Spaniels. Have you found that, or have you worked with Cocker Spaniels?
I've not done a whole lot with Cocker Spaniels, but there again, they're a Spaniel. They're not, their DNA is not made to do what we're wanting them to do. And a lot of it, I think, a lot of this stuff is, these hunt tests were originally designed, if you read the HRC's creed, that was for hunting dogs and for hunters. And now a lot of these tests, the dogs are getting so good and the training's getting so good. These tests are the standard of these tests is getting higher and higher, even on weekend tests, even all the way down to season has started. But the standard for a really well-bred Lab or a really, really well-bred Golden Retriever versus the standard for a Boykin Spaniel, that their gap's not coming up the same way these other dogs in training are, so I think people are they're getting fails and they're pushing their dog harder and harder. And a lot of it, I think, is coming out of the hunt test standard, and the thing I tell all my clients and friends and people that talk about, they want to get a Boykin Spaniel and do what I do, they want to go get in the hunt test game and do this. The first thing I tell them is you're going to get some fails. More than likely, you're going to get a lot of fails, especially when you start getting into season and finished. I mean, sometimes I've been to places where the terrain or the cover or whatever it might be, it just didn't set up for a Boykin. And I mean, I've taken dogs that, don't have many fails and don't hardly ever handle on a mark and really, really good, some of the really, really good ones, and they still fail. It's just sometimes you get there and it's just not your day,
Yeah.
So, that was 2 or 3 years ago, we were running a test, and on Saturday, I think we had 10 dogs and we passed every one of them. We didn't have a handle or nothing. I mean, we had a really good group of dogs and we did good, and that was in finished. And the next day, the cover was so high, you couldn't see the dog at all on the marks and very, very little on the blind. And so, I made a decision. I just scratched the whole trailer because I knew what was fixing to happen. We were fixing to lose every dog, especially on the blind. And so, so on Saturday, we were perfect, and on Sunday, we were 0. And that's just the name of the game. So if you're getting into a Boykin and you're wanting to run hunt tests, you're wanting to do those type things, you just need to know that those tests are not designed and not made up for your dog. They're designed and they're made up for Labrador retrievers, pretty much. And if you go into it with the right mindset, you can have a lot of fun, and you can learn. You get to those hard tests and you can learn a lot, and you get around all these pros that you're naming and I'm naming, and you get to watch them, just watching them run their dogs. And I love watching them get dogs off the truck and all the little things they do.
Yes.
From getting them off the truck to getting to the holding blind to getting to the line and going back to the truck. That if you watch those really successful pros, the ones that are at the top, you're going to learn some stuff just by watching the little things that they do. And
You said it.
if you go into it with the right mindset, you can have a lot of fun with your Boykin. But if you go into it with, I'm fixing to get this Boykin and light up the hunt test trail and be the next, Boykin superstar, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed in what you get.
Hey, it's Kenneth Witt with the Gun Dog Nation podcast, and we are so proud to be partnered with the National Shoot to Retrieve Association, also known as NASTRA. NASTRA has a common love for producing the best bird dogs possible. It's a great community that builds and bonds everlasting friendships. I've actually got to meet a lot of the NASTRA members who's taken me hunting and some other grouse hunting and stuff in different places. So I can honestly say I'm a member, and I'm proud to be partnered with them. NASTRA hosts national and regional field trials that emphasize the working ability of bird dogs. They have been around for over 50 years. There's a reason that NASTRA has been around that long. Please check them out at www.nstra.org and belong and support your local NASTRA club. They do have national and regional events, and it's a good place to help learn to be a better dog trainer, a better dog owner, and to compete with your bird dog. Thank you. Man, everything you just said was very well put. I need to. That's and one of the things you said there that really caught me too, Jonathan, is basically a lot of times these dogs aren't doing what you're asking of it. Just like you said, it's because they don't understand what you're asking. I've had to learn that the hard way myself. But no, you're right about how these tests are made up. I like how you talked about that. It's exactly right. These tests are set up for retrievers and who are taller dogs, can see in higher grass and move through that kind of stuff. I never even thought about that. But see, I've never I've ran retrievers on a hunt test, just not spaniels. But I'm getting ready to run a cocker.
Well, you'll get you a dose of it then. It's different. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, running Boykins and tests is where you learn in life and as a trainer or anything really is from your fails. That's what makes you good. When you fail and you want it really bad and you fail, that's when you work harder and you study harder and you train harder and you try to get better. When you win all the time, it makes you lazy and it makes you cocky. and
Yes.
and that's a easy bad road to go down. Sometimes winning is not the best road to go down. Sometimes you need to be taken down a notch. And if you run Boykins and hunt tests, you'll get taken down all the notches you need to get taken down. But there also comes some times where when you finally hit it, when you finally, get that HRCH on that Boykin, or, you finally get to that next level, and then it means something to you. Then it's extremely important.
Yes. No, I like that. So you will be at the Grand this year in Nashville.
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
I wanted to go so bad. I'm not going to be able. I've got a hunting trip instead, and it's killing me because I could not. Anyway, it's something I've already prepaid, so I couldn't afford to scrap it. But I will go the next one. What's some big plans that you've got, or for your kennel, for Tomahawk Kennels? Anything in the works that you're working on?
I mean, we're just trying to press forward and build better dogs. I've tried to get a few more labs and goldens in my kennel because I would like to play some of the bigger games that the Boykins are just not built to do. So that's one thing I've been working on a little bit. But I mean, we're trying to get some Boykin breedings in there that we know we can get. That's how the Boykins are going to get better. You're going to have to put the breedings together to make them better. And so that's something that we've been focused on, myself and with several of my clients that have really nice dogs that are interested in breeding their dogs. Just doing that. And every fall I try to add on to the farm a pond, or it's dirt work or whatever it is. So I've been looking at some down by the creek. I've been looking at putting in another little unique little piece of water down there, possibly this fall. That's what we're doing. We're just trying to train better dogs and get better. That's where we're at right now.
Do you have enough rain there to keep your ponds, or do you have to pump them with water well?
My tech pond and my stick pond up on top of the hill on the top side. I have a well running in them, and it keeps them full. I don't have any trouble keeping them full. My bottom ponds, this year we've had enough rain. I've got a little runoff ditch that I've cut into those, and we've had enough rain this year that until about the middle of July they were over full and running out of the spillway, and then they've dropped down some, but right now all my ponds are still pretty full. So I've been fortunate this year with water. That's one thing about training a water dog. And I stay full a lot of times and can't take on any more dogs. And I'll say, well, where do I send my dog? And I say, well, send it to somebody that's got water. Human nature, a lot of people ain't going to load up the trailer and drive 30 or 45 minutes every day, to go do swim by on 10 dogs, but if you got it right here on your place, especially the foundational part, you don't have to have everything on your place, but you need some water there to do foundational type work and that at minimum, I think. And, I've invested a lot of money to get all that done, here on my place. So that's one thing. I can walk out of the kennel and be at good foundational water and about 30 or 40 yards, I can just walk right out the backside of the kennel and I'm there. So we're good on water.
Now, did you design your own ponds?
My tech pond, that's when me and Chris Scott, where he was mentoring me a lot, and he helped me a lot with the tech pond. But then from there, the stick pond and all that, I've kind of built another really, I call it a canal pond, but it's kind of a tech pond in a way down here in the bottom. Some of the design on those came from just training year after year and like, man, I wish I had this, or if I had that, I could get this done faster, or I could get it done better. And then a couple of the ponds, the way I designed them, there was some like rain runoff water that was like catching in different areas.
Mhm.
And like it kind of gave me the design and the thought process of how that would work. And
Yeah.
so that fall, I kind of dug all that out and took trees out. And then that next spring, the last portion that I put in, it's been perfect this year. It really added a whole lot to my training program. It's kind of like a horseshoe shaped canal, but it bends around the other two ponds right there and kind of connects them in a way.
Oh, yeah,
But it's narrow enough where I can get a lot of re-entries real fast. It's a small hill right there, hillside. And so if you get on my website, or I don't know if that'll be on there yet, but on my social medias for sure, TikTok and Facebook, some of that, you can see the ponds. But it added a lot for re-entries and a lot of, when I get into water work with Boykins, that's a very sensitive subject because, there's a big misconception with Boykins and water. If you walk up to water and you have a bumper and you've got that dog retrieving and you throw a big splash in there with a white bumper, man, that dog loves it. I mean, and people think, man, my Boykin loves water. I take them out to the lake. They're jumping off the boat and they're doing all this. And that's fine and all until you get into a formal setting. And when you line that dog up and say, dead bird back, then what's he going to do? Or when you get into a formal setting where, you got a winger mark going off at a test and that duck it's a duck and it didn't splash, or it's a cheaty mark. And then what's that dog going to do? And then that's where a lot of people start getting into a lot of trouble because their dog will start no-going them or running the bank or doing whatever they're doing, whatever the issue is. And I guess by human nature, until you learn better, everybody resorts to the collar, and they just want to start really getting heavy on the collar. Well, now you're going back to something we talked about earlier, where if that dog's confused and he don't fully understand that you're asking him to get in the water, and now you're starting to add collar pressure or whatever pressure you're starting to add to him, now to a Boykin that don't want to do it anyways, now you're just digging that hole deeper and deeper and deeper. So by the way I've designed my ponds and everything here, I've got a lot of shorter entry stuff for the younger dogs where I can really make an impact on, I call it soft de-cheat. It's kind of similar to the way Chris Aiken did in some of his earlier duck dog videos, the way he does that. I kind of took that and tweaked it a little bit where it works a little better for Boykins, but I call that soft de-cheat. And I start with that before I really get into much of the formal water stuff. And by doing that, it teaches them, hey, I want you to get in the water. I want, the water's good. I want you to get in. And then from there, I go into a lot of pile work and casting and swim by and tune-up drill and all that kind of stuff. That's when I start getting into that portion of it. But if you don't have the right water and you got really big open water, Boykins don't like looking at it. And so that can be a problem because they ain't about to swim no 200 or 300 yards, especially if they hadn't been very, very trained and they have a whole lot of drive. They ain't doing it. So if you're trying to point them out there and do something like that, it ain't going to work. Or even a bigger pond, it ain't got to be that kind of extreme. But to have the smaller, have everything broken down smaller. But where I've also found that that's very beneficial for the labs and Goldens is when you're teaching that kind of stuff and you're just teaching it, you're not really conditioning it yet to longer stuff. You get way more reps in when it's shorter distance. And so where if you're trying to swim a dog, 50 or 60 yards and I'm trying to swim one and teach him in a 15 or 20 yard swim, I can get 3 or 4 times the reps in that you can. And so accidentally, by setting it up for Boykins, it seems to work really, really well with the labs and the Goldens also.
Purina Pro Plan. Here at Gundog Nation, we use Purina Pro Plan for our dogs. We actually use the Sport Performance Edition, which is 30% protein and 20% fat, the beef and bison. It contains glucosamine, omega-3s for their joints. It also contains amino acids for muscles and antioxidants. And it also has probiotics. It's guaranteed to have live probiotics in each serving. There's no artificial colors or flavors. We see the difference in our dogs. We see the difference in their coat, their performance, their endurance, and also in recovery.
Be sure to use Purina Pro Plan dog food. The reputation speaks for itself. There's a reason that Purina has been around for such a long time. We suggest that you use it, and we are so proud to be sponsored by Purina Dog Food. When you're getting ready to go on your next hunting trip, make sure you pack the most efficient and reliable ammunition on the market. Migra Ammunition brings you the most diverse loads on the market. Migra's patented stacked load technology is the epitome of efficiency. 2 shot sizes stacked together to create the most diverse and efficient line of shot shells in the industry. It doesn't matter what flyway, what state, or what the weather, the standard remains the same. At Migra, reliable loads that perform in any condition every single time. We're proud to have Migra Ammunition as a sponsor for Gundog Nation. Nice. Well, I've definitely got to come and check your place out. You got me interested now. It sounds really nice.
If you get on, we did I had a guy bring a drone out a month or two ago, and I did a TikTok and a reel on social media of all the ponds and the place and everything. So you'll be able to see kind of the layout of it from there.
Is your TikTok in your name, or is it Tomahawk?
It's Tomahawk Boykins or Tomahawk Kennels one.
Okay. I'm gonna check that out. Especially since I'm in driving distance. I'm used to being out here in West Texas. I have to drive 3 hours to train anywhere. And to hunt,
there ain't a lot of water out in West Texas.
No, there's no. I'm only lucky like 4 miles from me is a spring-fed river. It's it's not that wide, but it's better than nothing, and that's all I have. Which is good to keep them. They have to cross the river to get bumpers. It kind of helps them not to ever want to cheat because they really can't cheat because it's a river. They either go in or they can't go in it. So, but anyway, that's really all I have. So I'm looking forward to being a little bit back in places where there's water.
Yeah, and you got where we run Music City hunt tests up there at Percy Priest. That's just right east of Nashville, and there's all kind of good tech water and really any kind of water you want up there to train on also.
Somebody the other day was telling me all about that. I know where Percy Priest is, and but they were saying there's a place you can go and train and stuff. Is that right?
It is. Yes, sir, it is. That's where we ran this past weekend. Actually, it's I guess it's just east of Nashville, Laverne, Tennessee. Okay. I think's the actual name of it. Pools Knob is the WMA right there. The Pools Knob training grounds, field trial grounds.
Yeah. I'm east of Nashville, but I'm northeast, and that's kind of southeast east. That's not that far from me, I don't think. But when I get
I won't be that far at all.
Well, hey, so Jonathan, man, this has been great. You've given me a wealth of knowledge. You've done a lot of work, homework on training and dogs, and it shows. I mean, I can just tell it talking to you, man. You know what you're doing. It's impressive. I got to ask you though. Me being a Kentucky native and went to the University of Kentucky, what's that K on your hat for?
That's actually a TK. Oh, that's my logo.
I was like, man, I could just see the edge of it, and I thought, man, is he wearing a Kentucky hat? I figured that was outlaw in Alabama, but okay. Is that your logo?
That's one of them. That's the letter one. Then I got I usually got it everywhere. I've got actually Chiefs. I had a guy I went to high school with. He's an artist. He took a side image of Chief and made my logo out of that. That's a pretty cool logo.
I'll check that out.
I don't have anything. Well, there it is on my iPad. You can see it. And that's Chief in June with there too. National wins, and then Chief's actually won it twice. He won the National Open. So Chief won the Novice in 18, and then June won the Novice National in 21, and then Chief won the National Open, the BSS National Open in 22. Man. So he's actually won it twice. Yeah.
Nice. And then
I was very fortunate.
To me, it's hard enough to win a grand with a retriever and taking a Boykin. I mean, man, that's a challenge. I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got a buddy that'll be down there at the Grand. He's been on this podcast from North Carolina. Landon Poppin. He's got it's a wire hair. It's not officially a drop, but it's one of those drops.
Yes,
and he's got one pass. So if he passes this time in Nashville, he'll get a title. It'd be pretty. I don't think it's the first time.
Yeah, that's huge right there, because it's the Grand is about perfection. I mean, if you ever go to one or get to run in one, you got to be perfect. I mean, there's no mistakes, and you and the dog, it's a team effort. I mean, you got to be perfect. So to take a dog that's not a retriever and to do that kind of work with it, that guy knows what he's doing, and that is an extremely special dog. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I think you're right on both counts. I think he's got a great dog, Landon's a young man. I think he's in his mid. I just got a phone with him earlier today, mid to late 20s or something like that. But it's amazing. But he's real humble. He's a big old dude, but he's a real humble guy, and he really knows what he's doing. And obviously, but yeah, and then guys like you compete with a Boykin at that level is something too. But well, Jonathan, I know I appreciate you being accommodating to me. I've had to move schedules around here and stuff, and it's been kind of crazy. But I've been wanting to get you on forever. And this is what I feel proud about is this is your first podcast with me. So I like that. And we've talked about Boykins on here. Yeah. I'm excited that I'm your first one, and you're the first podcast I've had that's just pure Boykin. And I like that, because I try to see, I know guys like you don't pay attention, but I even do coon dogs and stuff too. So I like to cover all hunting dog breeds, and that's not easy to do. There's so many. I'm trying to do one right now on Gordon setters. So yeah.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of us out here that kind of specialize. There's if you're a good trainer, a good dog trainer as far as retriever goes, you could train a Boykin if you wanted to take the time and do it. But as far as guys that have over 50% of their kennel in Boykins, there's just not many of us, that's that crazy, I guess.
Yeah. So I know it's challenging, because I've talked to other guys, man. I know it's not easy. I don't think I'm at that level, but Jonathan, man, I know you got a lot on your plate there, and I appreciate you taking the time to get on here with me, and hopefully pretty quick I can meet you in person.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you inviting me on, and I hope it turns out good for you.
It will. And this is a good. We'll promote you on here too, man. You deserve it. But
all right,
anyway, thank you, Jonathan. Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation, and I'd like to encourage all you listeners and viewers on our YouTube channel to check out patreon.com/Gundog Nation. For $10 a month, you can become a member of our community, and we'll have access to lots of stuff. Mainly, we'll do a monthly forum, an open forum, where you can ask me anything Gundog related, and we'll learn from each other in the community. Should be a lot of fun each month. We will do that. So check it out, patreon.com/Gundog Nation.